first time that we ever saw Tishimingo's name written was actually in an 1808 letter from the Chickasaws to the Cherokees with the name Tishimingo. Tishimingo literally translated into, say, assistant chief. Anyone who was in the position that he was in, say, as the Tishominko, was known to be a warrior, an orator, was known to be a person of power and persuasion.
This was a role that extended back deep into prehistory, into the Mississippian mound-building cultural times, as best we can tell.
Proclaimed the last full-blood Chickasaw warrior, Tishimingo was born in the mid-1730s and grew up during a difficult time in our history.
The Chickasaw Nation was embroiled in war from the time he was born almost until the time of his death in some conflict or another. And he grew up as a warrior and fought not only for the tribe, but also for the U.S. government in their military.
We are fairly certain that Tishimingo fought with Andrew Jackson and the United States Army against the Creeks. We know that his name appears on the U.S. muster rolls, which shows that he was part of the Army.
And so Tishimingo, along with other Chickasaws and Choctaws, assisted Andrew Jackson in that campaign, which culminated at the Battle of New Orleans in early 1815.
But as soon as that war ended, and he had no more real use for these Indian allies, the Chickasaws and other tribes that banded with him to fight the Creeks. But by 1816, Andrew Jackson had taken a personal interest in acquiring as much Indian land as he could.
For years, Tishimingo and Chickasaw leaders fought to keep the homelands, but unrelenting pressure from the new United States convinced Chickasaw leaders that removal was the only hope for sovereignty and survival of the tribe.
After the three land cessions, 1805, 1816, 1818, there were many Chickasaws, I believe, who had no idea what would happen next.
Tishimingo pretty well knew that there was no use resisting removal because of his participation with the U.S. military over time. He knew exactly what the tribe would be up against if they tried to resist.
The Treaty of Pontotoc Creek in 1832 was the culmination of years of pressure by the United States on the Chickasaws to sell their land and give up their land in the east of the Mississippi River, and move west.
The Treaty of Pontotoc came on the heels of a difficult year for Tishimingo. In 1831, the new state of Mississippi took Tishimingo to court for confiscating goods from two traders operating illegally in the homelands.
The state of Mississippi came back at him and said, "You're one of us now." So they took him to court in Monroe County and charged him with stealing the trader's goods. He was in jail briefly.
And that goes down in history as a man that was willing to fight for what was right for his people. And I believe that is his greatest contribution.
Tishimingo was at the end of his life by the time of removal. Many people say he was close to 100 years old, and he evidently did not have the strength to survive the entire Trail of Tears here to Oklahoma.
He was quite aged to even be trying to remove, but he picked up his things and his family and took off for Indian Territory and a new life.
Isn't it something that then our original capital was immediately named after him? The town of Tishimingo was laid out like a traditional Mississippian village would have been laid out. All that's both a tribute to him, but represents the extent to which he truly was an anchor to the old ways.
The Chickasaw Nation has recently erected a monument at the location of Tishimingo's last home place, where he lived the last at least 40 years of his life in the homelands.
When the stomp dancers did their dedication dance, it was like we were not taking the physical land back, but we were taking the spiritual part of the land back. We were reclaiming the spiritual land.
For me, all history is about then imagination, and then you start to imagine Tishimingo walking there, Tishimingo living out his life there, and people coming to visit him and have all manner of conversations that have literally shaped who we are right now. But that happened then, right there in that place. And what can you say but wow?
The Great Seal of the Chickasaw Nation pays homage to Tishimingo's prominence within the tribe. And now, the Hall of Fame honors the lifetime achievements of the last full-blood warrior chief.